Ipswich Town have said that their captain, Sam Morsy, refused to wear a rainbow captain's armband at the weekend, coach, due to his religious beliefs. Morsy is a practising Muslim, and he led Ipswich at the weekend amidst the yearly Rainbow Laces campaign. The question here is, should players be allowed to pick and choose the campaigns and messages that football chooses to involve itself in? Now, as well as that, we've learnt in the last hour that England defender Marc Guehi will escape any FA punishment for writing "I love Jesus" on his rainbow-coloured captain's armband. The FA are expected to contact Guehi to remind the Palace centre-back that religious messaging is banned. As I said, Alex joins us live. Alex, on this Guehi situation, what more do we know?
Yeah, good afternoon, guys. As you say, first and foremost, good news for Crystal Palace in their predicament down at the bottom of the table, and for Marc Guehi, that he hasn't been charged. He's not going to be charged by the FA, and therefore there won't be any kind of punishment or suspension coming his way. It comes after the game against Newcastle at the weekend, when Guehi unfortunately scored an own goal against the club that tried so hard to sign him in the summer. He wore that rainbow coloured armband, as 19 of the 20 Premier League captains did, and he wrote on it, "I love Jesus." Now, that is a contravention of FA laws of the game, which state political, religious or personal slogans, statements or images are prohibited. So he was treading a fine line there. But as you say, my understanding is that the FA, rather than imposing any formal punishment, are almost going to reprimand Guehi. They're going to contact Palace. They're going to contact the player and remind him that such religious statements are banned. But it's an interesting one, isn't it? Particularly when I know you guys are about to debate what happened with Sam Morsy at Ipswich refusing to wear that armband.
Yeah, I mean, Simon, if Guehi was prompted to send out a message of his own, as we heard, "I love Jesus" on that rainbow armband, you could argue that that was prompted by some religious motivation on his part. Would he not have been better just abandoning wearing the armband itself?
Probably.
I mean, one wonders where all this goes. Where do you stand on Morsy? First things first. If he feels, "I'm not going to do it, I refuse to wear a rainbow captain's armband due to my religious beliefs," is he quite right to do just that? And are Ipswich right to back him?
Probably yes. I mean, if football insists upon involving itself in relative causes in a society that treats everybody with equality, yet seems to need to continue to promote certain messages through it, then you're going to get certain challenges, and you're going to get certain people that don't agree with it. And so if you don't agree with something, should you be forced to have to adhere to it? I'm always for integration. I'm always for central values, and people that come to this country to understand the central principles of this country. Is one of the big arguments that I make, is that central principles are a very important part of the reasons why there's so many challenges in this country, because we don't have them. But I'm also not entirely sure why we need to have these kind of messages inside football. I don't know why we need to have rainbow laces or rainbow flags. I'm sure I can be told by those that want to have these sort of things inside football stadiums. I'm sure it's very important to take a rainbow flag and wave it at a football match. I think under the law and in society, people's sexualities are protected characteristics. I don't know why it's a fascination with making it prevalent, but it seems to be. And I don't know why we have to have Pride Days, because 40 years ago it was something that people weren't able to have. We've now moved on as a society, and people get a bit fed up with the messaging and having it pushed down your throat. But in these instances, I think Marc Guehi and the fellow Ipswich are entitled not to be forced into a situation that they don't concur with. Now, whether you agree with whether they should concur with it or not is a different discussion. And football finds itself regularly in this space. It finds itself in the space with James McClean, because for some reason or another, football thinks it's appropriate and needs to. We have a Remembrance Sunday. We know when Remembrance Day should be celebrated. It's 11th hour, the 11th day of the 11th month. Yet football, being football, feels that it needs to do something special for it. And I understand that there's something special about that, but it also creates its own debate. Football gets involved with lighting up stadiums and lighting upon things that it can't actually substantiate, because its main protagonists don't really want to follow through on their views. We have Jordan Henderson telling everybody how his viewpoint about particular persuasions should be supported, and off he rocks to a country that doesn't have that. So I do feel that football should perhaps stay out of these arguments, stay out of these debates. but he doesn't want to. And so that means that the people inside it have to be forced into something they either believe in or not, and take a stance. And I don't think he needs to write what he wrote on the armband. On the armband.
Yeah.
I think he should have just said, I don't want to wear it.
See, Morsy's in a difficult situation to a degree here, Alex, because I noticed he came in for a bit of flack over the weekend after refusing to wear a rainbow captain's armband at the weekend due to his religious beliefs. It was very much and very speedily brought to everybody's attention by many people on social media that when he was at Borough and when he was at Wigan, he would wear a shirt with a gambling sponsor's logo on it. So,
what's that got to do with the price of cheese?
Well, yeah, but
what's that got to do with the price? His religious beliefs are one thing. His attitude towards a gambling company,
but both are prohibited in his religion.
Is gambling prohibited?
Yeah,
is it?
That's the whole point.
He's a Muslim, isn't he?
There was a finger pointing towards Morsy of you are a downright hypocrite when it comes to that. You'll wear the shirt with the gambling logo on it, but you won't wear an armband with the rainbow logo on it. So
double standards.
To some extent, Morsy was in a difficult situation with this. And at the end of the day, Alex, the guy would probably argue, I'm here to play football. End of.
Yeah, I can understand that argument. And actually, if you go back to the World Cup in Qatar, we were there this time 2 years ago, and there was a big furore, wasn't there, before the tournament about captains of certain countries wearing rainbow-coloured armbands, and then FIFA threatened to start dishing out yellow cards, and very quickly those captains backed down and different armbands were worn. So I understand where Simon is coming from in terms of football sometimes is being used to promote messages that maybe footballers don't feel comfortable doing so. But I think you're right to point out the double standards there when it comes to wearing a gambling advert on the front of your shirt and then not a rainbow-coloured armband. We're still waiting to hear from the FA with regard to Sam Morsy, whether he will face any punishment. But I guess it might be a similar situation to Marc Guehi if they're deciding that Marc Guehi is making a religious gesture and sending out a religious message and Morsy is doing the same, then you can't reprimand one player without reprimanding the other. But equally, it'd be difficult to see a scenario where Morsy gets some kind of charge and punishment when Guehi has escaped that.
What would you do, Simon, if Morsy was one of your players and you had a gambling logo on your shirt?
Well, I don't know why he elected to put himself in a position where something that he fundamentally disagreed with, he decided to endorse. Maybe he wasn't as confident a character as he is now. Maybe he's an older and more substantial person in his beliefs and has decided now was the time, and maybe if you asked him to wear a gambling shirt now, he may be declining it.
Maybe.
So we don't know what about it is not necessarily the answer.
You see, Adam, one of the listeners, Simon, saying he doesn't really have a choice. Adam is saying he doesn't have a choice about what shirt he wears because the rest of the team wear it.
Yeah.
But he does have a choice not to wear the armband.
And that's right. And if you fundamentally disagree with something, why should you have to do it? I mean, there were people that fundamentally disagreed with the necessity to take the knee, but they were too cowardly to say it. And there were people inside the media that spent their entire time telling everyone they should take the knee, and if you didn't, you were institutionally racist, and that ultimately the BLM was a good movement, and then all of a sudden those people have disappeared into the background. There's something to be admired about something. If you might not agree with someone's point of view, but if he doesn't agree with the principles of what someone's asking him to do, why should he have to do it? And why should sport have to do some of these things? And I maintain the view that sport, I know it's an outmoded view in some people's points of view, and I know that football is such an influencer that it can't help itself. But the question is, what is the purpose of sport? It's for entertainment. It's not for carrying societal causes. It doesn't have to be the best version of society. It just has to be entertainment. People that want it to be something else are because they want to hitch their particular wagon to it and utilise it for their own particular messaging. And they'll make the case as to the reasons why it's valuable. And then the same people will argue for the fact that a biological male can rock on a football pitch and play with 17-year-old girls. And that argument will be superseded by something else. So you have to get the balance right. I make these boys right. I admire their courage. I don't think Guehi should have written on his band. He should have just taken it off. And maybe it was an afterthought. Maybe he wasn't paying attention during the course of the week to what he's going to wear, and then it was presented to him, and he suddenly decided that I've got to do something about this.
Sure.
So I think sometimes you have to respect people's worldview rather than the one that other people want to force down your throat.
Alex, thank you very much indeed.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10. On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.